Hi, everybody. You're very, very welcome. And thank you for making the time for yourself to come to this session and learn the 10 steps to better health. Um, my name is Nichola Flood. My business name is the Queen of Health. And through my own health and well-being and my own journey, that's how I became the Queen of Health, and seeing how the body can heal itself if it's given the right opportunity. I had many things going on. I had underactive thyroid, I was depressed, I was 4 stone overweight, I had infertility issues. And it was at that stage that I decided to take my own health into my own hands. And for me, there's three pillars of health: there's mind, there's body, there's movement. And there's not just one thing that will make everything okay. So I started to work on mindset, I started to work on nutrition, I started to work on exercise. As a result, I lost 4 stone in weight. My depression lifted, my mood enhanced. I rectified my underactive thyroid without medication, and I became pregnant naturally. So for me, it was an opportunity that I wanted to spread the word of health and wellness with nutrition and help so many people that are struggling with different things. And there could be that ache in the hip, there could be that, memory brain fog that we all get, but that's just the body trying to tell us, look, you need to give me some TLC. We need to put on our own oxygen masks first before anybody else's, where we tend to look after everybody else and we're the last that we tend to look after. So today, I want to share with you the 10 tips to supercharge your health. And especially with this current situation that we're all going through, we've all fallen into little habits here and there. Nobody thought a year later we'd still be in the same position, but it's now to try and encourage you to take something from today, if it's one thing, two things, and make them your health and wellness goal for the next couple of weeks. For me, when I'm working with clients, I always like to ensure that they take small little goals as they can build into bigger goals instead of changing everything all at once. So do sit back, relax, and let us get to work. But before we do, I'd love to, just in the chat box, if you can let me know, what is your health and wellness goal? Is there a reason why you're here? I'd love to hear. And again, I can gauge then my presentation to certain goals, and emphasize on different things if you would like to share that with me in the chat box. And just to see what your goal is. It could be more energy, lift mood, it could be just to learn more about nutrition. But yeah, if you can and you want to pop it in the chat box, please do. Okay, so more energy, to eat healthy, nutritious food. Okay, so POS, okay, struggle, yeah, with weight, brilliant. Okay, food planning, nutrition, improve mood. Okay, super stuff. So, right, guys, you're in the right place. As I said to you, no matter what your overall health and wellness goal is, if the body is given the right environment, the right nutrition, three pieces of the jigsaw, which I'll talk about in a while, we can improve our situations. So there's a lot of lift mood and concentration going on here. Okay, plant-based diet, brilliant. People want more energy, and okay, so we've got a couple of vegans in the audience. Okay, brilliant. And especially when people are vegan or vegetarian, we need to look at where your main sources of fuel are coming from as well. And if you've adopted that vegan lifestyle and you have been currently not a vegan, it is important to make sure that you are making sure that you're getting the right quality of protein. Because vegans and vegetarians, they're, some people will go there because they think it's healthy. It is healthy if you research and you do it properly, but there is a lot of fake foods out there as well. Like junk normal foods, there's the fake foods out there as well. And I love to see that there, to conceive naturally. Okay, yeah, we were tried for 6 years, and it was a roller coaster. We were in IVF clinics and everything, and that's when I decided that after it didn't work and I was on medications and different things, that's when I decided that it was right. It was time for me to take control of my health. So guys, oh, and to fight the sugar cravings, love it. You're in the right place. So as I said, no matter what your goal is, your goal is here today, you will get something from it. And whether it's a small goal or a large goal that you're going to set yourself afterwards, you're in the right place. So first, as I said to you, there's 3 pillars that I'll always work with clients. There's mind, there's body, there's movement. This is the mind at the moment that you are seeing. And sometimes with everything that's going on around us, we wake up and we're on this red negative box. Okay, so when we wake up, the first thing, because 80% of our thoughts are negative, and especially with the environment we're in at the moment, there's so much fear and negativity that we may find ourselves on this red box, thinking negative thoughts all the time and feeling low and feeling down. But we do have a choice. We can move on to this positive green box. And I'm not talking about positive Polly and having to be happy all the time, but it's thinking of ways of how can I change my mindset? Is it to wake up 10 minutes earlier to do some relaxation or mindfulness or guided meditation? Is it to journal in the morning and write down the things that I am grateful for? And it's one of the things I'll do with clients also in our sessions is, what are you grateful for? Because sometimes we have to be grateful for what we've got before the universe will give to us more. So there's a lot of working on that. But even if your goal is to have more energy, your mantra in the morning could be, I have loads of energy. If it is to have a baby, I conceive naturally. If it's about mood, my mood is improving every single day. And they're the one little thing that if when you think in the future tense, I am, they always will work for you, and trying to shift yourself from that red into positive green. Because when a negative event happens in life, we automatically jump into being upset or stressed, anger or fear. But you've got to remember, we do have a choice. We can jump onto that red box and say no to the reality, or we can jump onto the green box and we can have, yes, I'm going to embrace this and I'm going to take, right, what's the positives? Where can I go? How can I improve the situation? It is as it is. So let us look at, a few of you had put in about your mood, and 1 in 3 people say that they experience bouts of low mood or depression on a fairly regular basis. So let me just show you a quick checklist. So I'll just call these out and just you can mark tick for everyone that you answer yes to. So do you feel downhearted, blue and sad? Do you feel worse in the morning? Do you have crying spells or feel like it? Do you have trouble falling asleep or sleeping throughout the night? Is your appetite poor? Are you losing weight without trying? Do you feel unattractive, unlovable? Do you prefer to be alone? Do you feel fearful? Are you often tired and irritable? Is it an effort to do things you once liked to do? Are you restless and unable to keep still? Do you feel hopeless about the future? Do you find it difficult to make decisions? And do you feel less enjoyment from the activities that once gave you pleasure? I, like you, was in an audience probably 10 years ago now at this stage, and we had just come through IVF and I had started to hit that bout of depression without even knowing it. I was in the audience and somebody put something similar like this up, and I started to tick more or less all the boxes. And the person said, if you tick 3 or more of these boxes, you need to talk to somebody. And it was the first time that I kind of, because I would have said depression was somebody else's. It wasn't me. I was happy-go-lucky. But depression isn't for me. But it made me realize that everybody, no matter who we are, no matter our lifestyle or how happy we are, we can all have that bout because different things happen to us in life. So if you scored less than 5, your mood levels are normal, you seem to be positive and are able to roll with the punches. If you score between 5 and 10, you have a mild to moderate case of the blues, and you will benefit from making some nutritional changes that we're going to share today. And if you did score 10, more than 10, it is likely to be you are suffering from depression. And I do always suggest that if you did score more than 10, that you do reach out for additional support, maybe to your doctor. And like that, I was in the audience once and had 10 or more, and it was only kind of ticking the boxes and going, okay. But I started to talk to people. I started to reach out because it's good to talk. And before I would have suppressed, we went through the IVF, we didn't tell anybody about it, and I started to suppress my emotions. So with this and being diagnosed with depression, it was time to talk and not to be afraid. So the causes of feeling low. So foods, as I said to you, there's a direct correlation with the food that we eat and how it affects our mood. So refined carbohydrates are linked with depression. So I'm talking about, the donuts, the cakes, the crisps. They have very little nutrients because as a nation, we're overfed and undernourished, and they use up the mood enhancing B vitamins. So if somebody's very stressed, their B vitamins are probably depleted. And I'll always recommend to my clients that if they've a stressful life, that they may go and talk to the pharmacist and see if they can be recommended a good quality B complex, just for maybe a month or two, just to top back up your reserves. B vitamins are water soluble, so they'll be flushed from the system. So it is hard to retain them. There's a direct link between mood and blood sugar balance. So our brain does run on glucose, and the more uneven our blood sugar supply, the more uneven our mood. Sugar is linked to aggression, anxiety, depression, and fatigue. And just even think about the Monday morning blues that most people get. If you've come to the weekend and you decide, right, I had a great week now, I'm just going to relax, I'm going to open a bottle of wine and have a takeout. Then Saturday, there's, cakes and chocolate, and there's an overdose of sugar going in. This can have a spike in your insulin levels. It can then plummet them and then crash. And that's why Monday, it takes us sometimes, if we had a weekend like that, it takes us a while to pick back up where we left off on that Friday, that feel good Friday. And caffeine and alcohol and nicotine can also throw our brain chemistry a little bit off as well. And alcohol in particular is a depressant. So we are going through times of uncertainty at the moment and fear in relation to, global and personal health. But one of the most empowering things that you can do is take control of your health. As the last session I spoke about here was to be the CEO of your own health. Have regular check-ins every day about your health. But we don't. We need to top up that bank account, which is our health account, every single day, by the foods that we're eating, by our mindset, by the movement. Strong immunity means that our body is alkalized. It means the likes of viruses and bacteria don't want to live in this healthy environment. They want to go to the bodies that are stressed, they're acidic, they're full of toxins. So the action plan for when we are feeling that little bit low, and by God, everybody I've spoken to, including myself, since last March, has hit a month, a week, a day of feeling low. And it's been like a roller coaster. So what we need to do is take omega-3s. So if you eat oily fish 3 times a week, amazing. If you don't, it could be worth your while to look at a fish supplement if you're vegan. I know Udos, or there are plant-based vegan options out there now as well to make sure that you are getting the good oils in. Just caution, always do check with the doctor or the pharmacist if you are on medication, especially blood thinning, warfarin medication, because omega-3s, fish oils naturally thin our blood. They're good for heart health, they're good for hormones, but just you do need to check before you take anything. Keep your fuel supply stable. So you eat low glycemic foods, so whole grains, low glycemic fruits like berries and apples as opposed to grapes and bananas. And depression, as I said earlier on, is linked to B vitamins, magnesium, and zinc deficiencies. A lot of people I work with are deficient in magnesium. One way of actually telling if you're deficient is that you can get jumpy leg syndrome at nighttime or restless leg syndrome at nighttime as well. There's certain foods, obviously, that you can get your magnesium in. So you'd have oat bran, nuts, seeds, and green leafy vegetables. And I see a question has just come in there with, do seafood have the same omega-3 as fish? So the oily fish options, so your mackerels, your salmon, all those high ones will have good quality omega-3s in them. Drink plenty of water, reduce alcohol, And we need to be drinking at least 2 liters of water every single day. Our bodies are made of 60% water, and just to be energized and focused. And it's one of the things that we sometimes forget to do. So here's my top tips that I want to share with you now to keep you fighting fit this month and beyond. And I will be sharing a link with Christina to give to you, which is a free ebook with everything that I speak about today. So it seems, yeah, okay, eating real food, but our body needs real unprocessed food to stay healthy. So how do we break our fast in the morning? What's our breakfast? You know, do we have foods that are alive, proteins, carbohydrates, fats? Are we getting all the food groups in at every single meal? And cutting back on sugar. So it means focusing on eating meat, fish, eggs, vegetarian sources or vegan sources. So proteins like tofu, beans, lentils, chickpeas, nuts, seeds, and a broad range of fruits and vegetables. So we should be getting 9 portions of fruit and veggies in a day. 7 veggies and 2 fruits is really where we should be going with that. Follow the 80-20% rule. So again, I get my clients to follow an 80% of eating real good quality nutritious food to allow 20% for that treat and the occasional treat. And as I have here, think fresh apples rather than apple juice. And the same with orange juice as well. And always be careful with, you know, breads, making sure they're whole grain or wholemeal as opposed to wheat flour. Because wheat flour, it could have whole grain on the outside, and when you look at the ingredients, the top ingredients is wheat flour, which means the bread has just been given a tan. So whole grain and wholemeal. So your brain is made from what we eat. So if I asked in the chat box there, what do you think percentage-wise is your brain fat made? The brain is made up of X amount of fat. What percentage do you think the brain is made up of fat? Have a guess. Okay, so we've got 30, 20, 65, 10, 60. Okay, guys, thanks, 40%. Okay, so it's actually 60% of our brain is made up of fat. So we need to make sure that we're getting good quality fat every single day. Caffeine, alcohol, and nicotine, as I said earlier, disrupt your brain chemistry. We have neurotransmitters, and these are made up of what we eat. So serotonin, dopamine, GABA, and we need to make sure that we're getting a variety of foods in to make sure that we're hitting all of these different neurotransmitters that we need to make us feel good. So the likes of serotonin, you would have poultry, eggs, bananas, dairy, dates. Dopamine would be grains, eggs, meats, almonds, soybeans. And glutamine is GABA. So anybody that suffers with digestive issues, glutamine is the lovely one to soothe the gut. So someone has asked, is it okay to drink coffee every single day? So yes, it's the 80-20%. Coffee has its purposes, and it, you know, 1 cup, max 2 cups a day are okay. And it depends, you know, if you've got a highly stressed lifestyle, I wouldn't be going more than 1 cup of coffee a day too. And if somebody's, you know, if my clients suffer, women with hormones, I'd be kind of saying be careful too if you're stressed, coffee, and you've got hormone issues going on, because it can disrupt and it can put unnecessary cortisol into the bloodstream that we don't need. So the majority of the brain is made up of fats, as we said, the essential fatty acids, which are our neuroreceptors, which receive messages. So if we don't have enough of these, the brain won't be communicating properly. We've got our nerve cells, which are coated in a fatty substance called myelin. And if this is damaged or missing, we're not getting these impulses transmitted properly. So we need fats to make myelin. So you can see the connection now of if you're not eating good fats and you're feeling a little bit low or the mood is down, that connection. Sometimes people have this kind of fogginess or cloudy kind of vision. And one of the things my clients will report back to me, non-scale victories I call them, is say, Nichola, it's like I took sunglasses off and I can see clearer and things are brighter. And that might be just by putting a tablespoon of flax seeds into morning um, their morning routine. It could be maybe putting half an avocado into one of my Funky Five smoothies. So happy meals, these can be oats. Oats are fantastic for releasing that good factor. They're a low glycemic load, so they really release slow, good quality carbohydrates. A small baked potato with tuna, cottage cheese and salad, chicken breast, brown rice and green beans, whole wheat spaghetti with beans, tofu, meat, tomato sauce, salmon, quinoa, and lentil bolognese. So there's, all those good quality, the lentils, the tofu, the fish, the chicken, baked potatoes, whole grain rice. If you can't tolerate brown rice, a lot of people can't because it just makes them very bloated because the amount of fiber that's in there. I say start small, but you can have an organic basmati rice as well. It's very good on your blood sugars and doesn't spike your insulin levels. So other factors, so nutrition is just part of the equation. So we can have other triggers, like if people are overworked, lack of exercise, trauma, and especially now with gyms being closed, if that was your go-to, people may find it hard to motivate themselves and walking isn't doing it for them, or they just miss that social aspect of the gym. Stress, negative thought patterns, medication, chronic illness. So start with the small, easiest changes. So the psychological action plan that I do give to my clients that present themselves with kind of low mood and needing that kind of pick me up is get regular support, reach out to family, friends, professionals. Aerobic exercise. So even for me, I love the gym. It's been taken away from me. It was my hour, my social. I've put my own oxygen masks on basically, but that's gone. So walking, yeah, I do it. It clears the head. It doesn't do it for me. So I've just started to run a little bit just to get the heart rate up. Avoid people and situations that make you feel bad. That person that you'll say it's a beautiful day out, but they'll always find something wrong. Try to avoid those people. Use positive thinking. Become aware of your negative thoughts. So when we wake up in the morning, we've got that 80% of our ego that jumps in to tell us all the negative things, where we've got 20% trying to push forward all the time to support us. Create a few positive affirmations and practice them daily. I am energized. I am, I'm grateful for whatever you're grateful for. And do things that make you feel good. I know it's a little bit harder now at the moment, but those things that make you feel good, even if it's at nighttime, lighting a candle, watching your favorite TV program. Okay, so start now. Increase healthy fat intake. So it can be seeds, nuts, avocados, olives, and their oil and oily fish. And keep working on adapting a varied diet and try one of the happy meals. So not these type of happy meals, one of the ones we mentioned earlier. So tip number 2 is to look after your gut. Okay, so looking after that tummy, and there's a direct communication between the brain and the gut. 90% of our serotonin is made in the gut. Another thing I'd always recommend for my clients is a probiotic. So taking a probiotic from the pharmacy or the health shop, not one of the drinks, because you'd probably have to have 10 of those to get what's in one capsule. So regardless of any of my clients' conditions, this is the first thing I will put them on, is a probiotic for 3 months, and use 3 different types of probiotic to make sure that you're replenishing all that good bacteria, because there's so many digestive problems that people present themselves with. The number 1 is constipation. And if you're not having a regular bowel movement every single day, you need to be, and that's one thing to address, is how do I get my bowels moving every single day? And that will actually is really important for gut health. And you've got to remember that food is therapy. Okay, it's fuel, it's not therapy. with the fuel, it's okay, what am I fueling myself with? It's like a car. You're not going to fuel a petrol car with diesel or vice versa. So you've got to see what works for you, because what works for me mightn't work for you. Okay. So how do we do this with the gut? So the gut environment really does take a big, big beating every year of people's stress and sugar, antibiotics. So that's why I would always say, take the probiotic to start with, but have a look at probiotic and prebiotic foods. And the gut microflora, so the healthiest people have the most diverse populations of the gut, and the diversity of bacteria is achieved through the varied diet. 9 portions of fruit and veggies every day with your beans, legumes, lean protein, and prebiotic foods, onions, garlic, Jerusalem artichokes, feed us with loads of good bacteria, and probiotic foods like sauerkraut, kefir, yogurt, kimchi, and tempeh. So that's a start. Tip number 3 is say no to sugar. So it's everywhere. And for me with sugar, it causes inflammation. It flames inflammation and the ability of the white blood cells to fend off viruses and bacteria. And it can actually suppress our immune system. So enjoy the likes of, say, raw cacao or cocoa, hot chocolate. You can put that in there with some milk, or I like to use dairy alternatives, and you can put xylitol in instead of sugar, which doesn't disrupt your insulin levels. And if you really do miss chocolate, I love 2 squares of dark chocolate. Probably have it nearly every day, but good quality dark chocolate just takes away that sugar craving, and it's good for you too. Tip number 4, drink more water. So again, we said earlier on, your body is 60% water. Stay well hydrated. You can use loads of different apps. If it's something that you struggle with, it'll remind you every single day. Herbal teas is another way to get your fluid in. Or what I like to do is get a nice herbal tea bag, like maybe a raspberry or one of those, and put it into my 2-liter bottle of water. It diffuses and it tastes like a nice cordial. Tip number 5, this is so right now because we've got sunshine. I'm looking out my window and there's sunshine there too, because the skin loves to absorb vitamin D, and vitamin D is a hormone. And when we're deficient, which most of us are in vitamin D, that can affect our mood. It can affect how we feel, our energy levels. So that's why now, people see the sun, it makes them feel good. It lifts themselves because it releases that good, feel good hormone in the body. And they're saying that a lot of people should supplement with vitamin D. It's another one that I get my clients to supplement, is a vitamin D as well. But obviously we can get it in the foods like oily fish, beef, liver, mushrooms, cheese, egg yolk, and fortified. But we have to be eating a lot of those foods. So that's why I would get my clients to supplement. But you can always check with the doctor and get tested to see how your levels are. Sleep, so important. And being tired is not good for our health. And there is a study here that if you had less than 7 hours of sleep at night, they were 3 times more likely to catch a cold than people who had the average 8 hours. So people are different. Some people can get away with 5 hours sleep. Some people need 8 hours. So it's generally, I would kind of say, go between the 6 and 8 hours sleep. Make sure that you're switching off at nighttime properly, and that there isn't any, your tablet, your phones, always have them on airplane mode. Move in a way that makes you feel good. Okay, so the lymphatic system, which is parallel to our bloodstream, this has tissues and organs that get rid of our toxins. Unlike the heart, it doesn't have that natural mechanism that it has to be to get the toxins moving. We have to move to get it moving and to get it flowing. So that's why exercise is so important, because if we don't move, that's where the aches and pains, or we don't stretch because we're not naturally moving things around the body. And I always say to people, find something that you like. It doesn't have to be get out and run because everybody else is doing it. Maybe it's to go cycling, maybe it's to go find, you know, nature or the sea or something that you can connect with, and just to fill your lungs with oxygen. But 30 minutes every single day of movement is what they recommend, and it does add an extra 10 years to your life. Tip number 8 is have a Funky 5 smoothie. So I will send you a link to my full recipe book of Funky 5 smoothies. These were, I designed these for my clients because most people were too busy for breakfast or weren't getting the proper nutrients in breakfast. These have proteins, fats, greens, super boosts, fiber. There's everything in there that's going to get you through from breakfast right through to lunchtime. It switches off your hunger hormone. What else have I got here? Yes, because when we go to buy a shop bought smoothie, there can be up to 10 teaspoons of sugar in them because they've been heated. There's a lot of fruit. My Funky 5 smoothies will have 1 portion of fruit in them, and that's it. They'll have protein powder. I go with vegan blend. I like plant-based as opposed to whey, just for inflammation and different things. They have good fats like avocados, chia seeds. They have fiber like flax seeds, which is also a good fat. So there's loads of goodness in there. I'll share that with you guys later. Cook with herbs and spices, going back to the basics of, you know, what's in the kitchen, the gingers, the garlic, all those ones that we would have grown up with and kind of known at the back, but it's used them. And even the supermarkets now are using frozen versions of ginger and garlic. So it makes, you know, takes the hassle of having to cut and chop out of it. So yeah, there's loads, but these do support the immune system and they do help prevent sickness. And also anti-inflammatory as well. And my last tip today is to start with one goal. As I said at the earlier on, it's that one goal that, you know, you're probably thinking, oh my God, I need to do this, I need to do this. And you've probably been taking notes, but whatever it is, start small and let it grow. Because as you get the passion and the flair for looking after your own engine, as I call it, and you're fueling it the right way and you start to feel amazing, or maybe that ache starts to go away, then you go, okay, I'll move on to the next goal. So guys, thank you so much. You can find me on my website, thequeenofhealth.ie. Social media platforms, I'm there, Queen of Health. I've loads of private groups in there for helping and supporting people. You can reach out and chat to me, and I will give Christina a complimentary health check-in link that you can check in with me for your own health and wellness, and maybe you have other questions that you didn't want to ask there. So yeah, some people have asked loads of great information. Could we get the presentation material? So all my information I'm going to be sending out in a little ebook to you, so it'll all be in there for you. And thanks, Amy. Thank you. That was excellent. Brilliant. Yeah, there's a lot of information and I could talk all day because I can connect to it. I see how nutrition, mindset and body, how they all have an impact on people's overall health and wellness. So guys, thank you so much, and do reach out if you need anything or have any other questions. I'm always at the other end of something to help and support people. So thanks a million.